Coverage continues right now with Ronnie Richter of the Bland Richter Law Firm. Ronnie, thank you again for giving us more insight. The defense today pushing for the jury to visit Moselle to see that crime scene. I ask you if you were surprised by this. It seems pretty late in the trial. Are you surprised that they are going there?
I'm stunned. I don't see the gain. You know, I think you would want them to go there if you didn't feel like you were winning. The risk for them is they are convinced in their minds that if a jury sees the setting, that they'll be convinced that Alex could not have seen or heard anything from the house. Mm-hmm. Now, they could go to the setting and be impressed by the remoteness of it. It might be that their takeaway is how unlikely it is that Alex could have disappeared at the very moment and that two people or one or more people could have been there at that very moment in time because it is remote.
Mm-hmm. Riley talked about the acoustics.
Yeah,
that it might be difficult to hear gunshots or dogs or anything.
They're experts already. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what you think a jury is going to perceive from being there, being present, that's not already been taught to them by the defense experts. So again, I think it's very risky. I think it's unnecessary. It's every bit as likely that the jury thinks there's no way that two other people just popped out of the woods at this very moment in time, the second that Alex walked away from those kennels.
It certainly is a big risk, but we heard from that forensic expert who said being on that property helped him get a better sense of the crime scene. But again, you say it's still a risk.
But they got that testimony through an expert, through a paid witness who was going to be good. So why get 24 eyes out there to come up with their own impression about what the setting says?
You said those words, the same thing that Dick Harpootlian wanted to establish, that everyone knew they are paid experts and there should be no concern about whether they were influenced by being paid.
No, they're all paid. I mean, they're paid on both sides. That's just part of the game. So you make that point, but you're not going to win on that point. The fact of the matter is they were good. I thought they were both authoritative in their fields. I thought their testimony was valuable. I think they were impactful on the jury.
They also brought up very different ideas and theories about the manner of being shot, the direction, the trajectory of the gunshot wounds, and also the fact that there were two people possibly at that scene. This is what you said the defense wants to do, raise doubt in the minds of the jurors.
Yeah, of course, they're not trying to prove any of this. But what they are trying to demonstrate is that the state has not disproven it. So for the state's case to be sound, they have to disprove the two-shooter theory. The defense doesn't have to prove two shooters.
That's a good point. They don't have to prove it.
No, and they're not trying to, but they're trying to introduce to the jury that, look, the forensic evidence points to more than one result here, and one of those very possible outcomes is that there was more than one shooter involved.
The other Murdaugh on the stand today, John Marvin, Alec Murdaugh's brother, give me an idea of how he performed on the stand. Did he deliver on what the defense hoped he would deliver?
He did, and he was the perfect cleanup hitter for them. So in closing a case, you want to close strong. And for them, they also wanted a safety net behind Alex. So if Alex didn't deliver the goods, who's behind Alex before we close our case? Well, we put behind Alex two paid experts who are going to be good. And then John Marvin. John is charming. He's likable. I think he's credible. I thought he delivered lots for them, not only on the sloppy investigation of the crime scene, but also on the closeness of the relationship within the family. So I thought he was a compelling witness. It's in the eye of the beholder, though, right?
Might that have been surprising to people who were watching and possibly to jurors that you might have thought the defense was going to wrap up soon after Alec Murdaugh was on the stand? But again, these additional expert witnesses and then Alec Murdaugh's brother.
No, this is sound trial strategy. So if Alex is going to testify, and it's pretty clear from what's transpired that he insisted on testifying. If he's going to do it, you have to have a safety net behind him, because if he doesn't deliver, how are you going to finish strong? You finish strong with John Marvin, who I thought was an all-purpose witness.
Next week, or over the next few days, I should say, the prosecution says that they will, in fact, bring 3, possibly 4 additional witnesses to the stand.
It better be good. You know, you get the sense at this point that the jury's exhausted. They've heard it all. If you're going to offer a rebuttal case, which you don't have to, but the state does have the luxury of having the last word. If you're going to do it, it needs to be impactful. I need to see a Cousin Eddie. I need to see a Connor Cook. I need to see some witness that is directly responsive to what the defense has said, that's going to capture that jury's attention again before you close out.
As we get a little bit closer to the finish line in this process, with no disrespect to how important this is, who do you think right now is leading or has the advantage in convincing jurors, Ronnie?
You know, given the fact that the defense doesn't have to prove anything, given the fact that they only have to establish reasonable doubt, I think I think that they have done an effective job in their case of raising many reasonable doubts. The shaky motive to start with, the poor forensics, the poor crime scene development. I think all of this creates uncertainty and discomfort with the jury. They're asked to do a very heavy thing in passing the sentence. They're going to need to have a high degree of confidence.
All right, we will see what these next witnesses deliver. Ronnie Richter, as always, thank you. We appreciate it.